The Pat Mayo Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. Farmers, insurance, open, picks, preview, bets, and the one and done. If you want to jump ahead to any particular part of the episode, hit the description or the comment section and boom. All the time codes for what we are talking about are there. And also in the description, the link to the PME Open DraftKings Listener League. $15 to play. You can play as many as 3 times. There are 1,000 spots this week. So the last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of the tournament, 250 people, 500 people, sold out in less than an hour. So the best place to do this. It didn't even make it to the video version to get up. So the audio listeners do have a distinct advantage in this because the audio podcast comes out first. So even if you do watch the video, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Audio Boom, wherever it may be, wherever you download your podcast, because that's where the link is going to appear first. And I don't know, maybe with 1,000 entries it makes it to the video, but I cannot guarantee that. Plus, there's a little incentive for you too. If you are watching the video and you've missed out on it, well, maybe you can get in next week. But what you can do is smash the like button, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me who you think is going to win the Farmers Insurance Open. That is 30-1 and above. No favorites. Some mid-tiers, some sleepers, whoever it may be. So no one in the Tiger, Rory, Rose range. None of those guys. Up the card a little bit who's going to win at Torrey Pines this week. And just to entice you a little bit more, to subscribe to the audio podcast, if you leave a review this week, say something nice about the show, 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever it may be, Spotify, you're also in a draw for $20 DK. Winners announced on next week's show. Guess who's here? It's Geoff Fienberg.
You're here.
I'm here. I decided to pull through.
I was the one who sacrificed the least to get here.
No, I moved the time on you.
Well, still.
Yeah.
No, we're here. A lot of people were I think, very lamenting. Will they get a show even this week?
They're getting 2. They're getting this show and the draft. It's Tiger Week, man. Yeah. I may have just had a child 2 days ago, but I'm not just going to miss work. Come on now. Does that sound like me? Just to take a hiatus?
No.
So I'm going to have this show on Monday, the DraftKings show with Jeff Ulrich, DJ Jazzy Jeff Ulrich on Tuesday, breaking down the entire DraftKings field. Then I got Gary and pinch hitting for me. He will be the host of the Pat Mayo Experience off and on while I am in and out of the office. Him and Meanie Wednesday and Thursday talking fantasy baseball. It's good that I'm not on that show because I know fuck all about baseball anymore. So those two can actually go back and forth. They got some ADPs. They got some early sleepers that they're looking at. There's going to be a whole series of fantasy baseball shows with them. And then Friday, 3 hours, the best of Cuss Corner from the football season with me, you, and Tim.
Baseball's back, right?
Yeah. I'm not too concerned about it. People do like baseball,
they
though.
know they love it.
Listen, it's just like how Paul and Cody host the DraftKings UFC show, because I don't know anything about UFC. It's better that they talk about it than hear me talk about it. Same as baseball. Gary and Meanie, we're good to go.
It's by far the most Dungeons and Dragons aspect of this whole world that we're in.
Oh, for sure.
Baseball.
People are trying to turn football into that, but it's just not happening.
No, football's too easy. It's one day a week. I mean, sure, there's, primetime slates, what have you, but it's just, even your buddy wakes up who knows nothing, rolls out of bed 11 on a Sunday, sets his lineup, he's fine. Like, no. You can't even compare that. You can't even compare.
So the winners of $20 DK from last week, we got Gasco 15 and Philly 919 from the 2 golf shows. From the football show, we got Cougars 4. And from the UFC show, Codeman 0831. There is no UFC this week, so they started on ESPN. They got to take a week off.
Wow.
I mean, Stephen A. Smith can't work every weekend. So that's who that should be credited to your account now. If it's not, it'll be in there tomorrow. Apparently it's Milk Day, which I thought it was in America. It turns out it's MLK Day. Oh. I saw people were like, someone shot me a text. I was like, hey, yo, here are the winners. They're like, oh, no one's in the office. It's MLK Day. And I've slept like 2 of the past 48 hours that I was like, what the fuck is Milk Day? I was like, oh, yeah. Not being American, it's just not ingrained into me that there's just a random holiday in January.
See, I also would have thought that would have been in like Black History Month also would be the day. But yeah, I don't know. Sure.
Yeah.
Not our holiday.
So we're producing a show on a holiday.
It's just like the gloomiest day of the year is what they say.
Yeah, a little bit. Also, Fantasy National. No big winners this week because no one had Adam Long. I kept getting him confused with Mark Long from the real world in the Road Rules Challenge, but apparently he's some guy and he won at 600 to 1. Guess what? No one had him.
Good for him.
So there were some decent winners on Fantasy National. It actually helped me in DraftKings that he won and Hadwin and Phil didn't, because I had no Hadwin and Phil. But it allowed me to sneak into the money, because when they were winning, all the Hadwin and Phil lineups got the extra juice with the extra 10 bonus points. This guy wins. No one has him. It's kind of perfect for me. I sneak into the money, turn a nice little profit. And we still had like over, I think it was like 3K in terms of winners on Fantasy National on DraftKings. And documented that screenshotted me. So it's like up to 40K through 2 weeks. Not bad. So fantasynational.com. Become a member now, because the prize pools, they're juiced on DraftKings.
That long win is going to hold up for a long... Like, what was the craziest win last year? I was trying to think.
Probably Michael Kim or Ted Potter Jr. TPJ beating Dustin on Sunday is pretty like...
But when Ted Potter Jr., we could even make jokes before that day, but they were jokes because we knew who he was.
He had won on tour before.
He had won the Greenbrier, which is pretty nice mid-level event.
In fairness, the only reason that we're like TPJ heads is because he looks like your buddy Hainzer. That's it. That's the only reason we really knew who he was.
But even to that day, yes, he dethroned Dustin, which is still a dagger, and it'll never really make sense to me. But he was still a much more of a known quantity than Adam Long.
I cover this full-time, professionally, for a living. I had no idea who Adam Long was. I had to look him up. I had to Google who the fuck is Adam Long.
I don't bet enough web.com.
No. Josh Perry probably all about it. Me, not. I'm not too. I do have a web bet in right now. I hope Oda wins this week.
I'm on Team Oda too, thanks to Josh.
To everybody, yeah.
I mean, quickly there. Is that like a Mac football when they play on a Wednesday to get on ESPN? Like, they can get our attention, even do DraftKings contests?
It's super savvy from the web.com. I don't know if this is going all season, but they've been starting their tournaments on Sundays, running through Wednesdays. Listen, as someone who's now just at home up at night, it's fantastic. I golf to watch on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh man, you better have you better have a European Tour card this week, because you're gonna be up. You're going to be up.
I might. I got to dig a bit into it first.
But you'll be up.
Here's the thing. Anytime that Phil Mickelson is in contention in California in an event, whoever like the biggest loser chasing him down is going to beat him. So Adam Long just ran down Phil and beat him. We remember 2 years ago when Vaughn Taylor ran down. Maybe it was 3 years ago now.
I think it was more than 2,
yeah. Yeah, because it wasn't last year. TPJ, Spieth, and then Vaughn Taylor. So 3 years ago, he ran down Phil on a Sunday to take home Pebble Beach. So watch out for Phil in California.
Yeah. I don't want to cut off the Adam Long thing, but I do believe, that's going to hold up. And will laugh.
You said it was more impressive than Sergio winning the Masters?
Not more impressive. Like, I could argue, outside of golf legacy, it does more for Adam Long than winning the Masters did for Sergio.
For like his life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the guy just won $1 million. He was supposed to like try to qualify for this tournament.
He didn't just
Monday.
win $1 million. He's in the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, he's got a 3-year tour card. Yeah. Like, no, it's a life-changing moment for Adam Long. Like, it's awesome.
Like, he won.
I thought Hadwin almost hold his bunker shot on 18 though.
Hadwin blowing that 3-stroke lead. 2 of the 3 events this year, I've looked very silly. We did the Tournament of Champions, and I'm a Woodland backer.
But I'm never
like,
at that price.
I'm like, who, like, I like Scott, like, who could swallow that Woodland number in this field? He literally did everything but win. I mean, he still shot a 65 on Sunday, but Xander shoots like a 61. Unheard of. Maybe even lower, or maybe a Woodland shot a 66. And then this week, I don't get into the online debates, but if I had to like answer a poll, I'm not a course history guy. I'm not. Like, if I had to pick a side with a flag in the ground.
I believe in course history.
I do.
But I don't want to lay an extra 30 points on a guy just because he has a good course history.
Exactly. So I was like, imagine eating that like 24 to 1, 26 to 1 on Hadwin.
Listen, you don't. I did this because I pissed away money on Luke List last year when he got up to like 20 to 1. It's like, I don't want to miss out on Luke List. And he wasn't going to win it 20 to 1. The guy doesn't win. Now, maybe 70 to 1 this week, maybe I can be in on Luke List. But if Hadwin had been in the answer range last week, where he was like 40 or 45, even up to Swafford at 50, I would have been in on Adam Hadwin. He was down to 22-1 by the time it closed. I was like, no, thank you.
And I mean, the 2
And
years...
he didn't win, so it's hard to win.
And even my buddy who bet on him, not even knowing, he just read whatever.
He went on tsn.ca
Just
and like,
read
Adam Hadwin
something.
looking good.
It was almost like, and this wasn't disparaging Hadwin as a DraftKings play. I mean, he had the 59 here 2 years ago. I think he finished third or fourth last year and had a T2 yesterday. So quite an amazing run here. But as you put it out, I couldn't eat that number on Hadwin. It was never gonna happen for me, at least.
Course history is a narrative, which I don't choose to buy in all the way to. The narrative that I will, anyone who plays one of the 2 Hawaii events ends up winning the Career Builder. Adam Long missed the cut at the Sony. There you go.
I guess you gotta add it to something.
So it was a fun event. I was flipping between. Well, I wasn't flipping.
They
between.
did a better job with the coverage we saw more from the other courses than we had let in that people were likely going to see.
They really stacked that one wave of guys.
Rose, Rom, Phil.
Yeah. So they followed them around. You didn't get great coverage at the course they weren't at.
I want to point out, and this is just my perception, but I'm convinced Rom's par 5 scoring cost him that tournament.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but from what I saw, yeah. That's what I would agree with.
Especially on the weekend. I don't know if he might have played them even par or something on the weekend, because I certainly know he bogeyed one early on Saturday. Maybe not, maybe 1 or 2 over, but certainly not close to the numbers for par 5 scoring that it takes to win a place like that.
Sure, and he was close anyway, so he is right on the precipice of probably breaking through. So he's won at Torrey Pines, he's won the Career Builder. He probably wins Phoenix next week. That'd be my guess.
That'd be a big one. That's where ASU, he plays 16 in the ASU Rom Pat Tillman numbered jersey, I want to say.
Yeah, and he finished top 5 there as an amateur. So watch out.
I remember when he won at Torrey, we were waiting to bet him at, we were like, yeah, he's good. But he's not going to win Torrey. Like, next week is when Rom is going to, and then.
Because we were correlating him with Brooks. That's where Brooks broke through. Yeah. Anyway, anything else about Career Builder? Patton Kazire, incredibly undercursed.
Good to note.
Hudson Swafford went like 7 under on the back 9 to make the cut. He came like T60. It was a bad pick anyway. But betting-wise, it was a losing week, but the head-to-heads came through. And the live head-to-head, the day that my son was born. I gave out the, I probably should have said it was a baby swag parlay, but it hit. And it really salvaged a lot of the week, which was really nice. So both of the matchups won, plus the parlay won. And I was just doing nothing, sitting in a hospital room waiting for my wife to go like have a kid. So I was like, yeah, let's follow along with this. Dump some money on this. My last chance to really dig in.
A non-shot tracker head-to-head.
No, see what happened was
stadium course matches or what?
No. What I wanted to do, and I wasn't able to do it on Saturday because I was a bit busy. But after Thursday, and I mentioned this on the show last week, that I wanted to wait to play the head-to-heads of everyone who played the stadium course, then bet them the next day. So I actually had data on what was going on. So I just targeted the 2 biggest imbalances in 2-ball matchups and just pounded them. They weren't even close. Like, they just blew it out of the water. So that's something to target next year, by the way, if you're looking at it. And we have a similar situation this week. You ready for the main event?
I like it. This is one of my, after the majors, this could make my top 3 favorite events of the year. Bay Hill, Memorial.
I like Valspar. I like Valspar and Heritage because I'm a loser.
Okay, sure.
Because I've won so much money at those events.
This is it's like, I don't know, it's got a bit of prestige. There's some shine on this. It's in my favorite part of the country, and I love it. So it's almost, you could argue, the start of official golf season and Tigers playing.
So there's 2 crappy tournaments between now and the Masters. Valspar being one of them with the schedule readjustment because the Players is now in March, and then whatever the week before the Masters is. I think it's
Oh no, they moved that.
Valero, I think that's what it is. Whatever.
Last year it was Houston.
Yes, it's usually Houston.
And that got moved to the fall.
No, that's just gone, I think. Maybe it is.
No.
Maybe it's
the
fall.
Moved to the fall because they have a cool new logo with like Houston Astros colors. So that's the only reason I know that.
Neato. So we have 2 WGCs. We have Pebble. We have this. Like I said, Valspar is the one that kind of gets left out because people are playing Honda. People are playing Bay Hill. They're going to play the WGCs. They'll play the Players Championship. And then it's Masters time in 2 months. We also have a big event overseas too. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But Torrey Pines, like last week, we got 2 courses on the docket. The South Course is the one that everyone is plenty familiar with, the site of the 2008 U.S. Open where Tiger beat Rocco Mediate. in a playoff, playing on a blown out ACL. We didn't see Tiger for a while. His last major victory. He's actually won 8 times, including that major at this course. Hasn't won here since 2013, though. It's a long course, the longest course on tour, almost 7,700 yards. There will be shot tracker and there will be data for this course, but the North course is a bit shorter. In fact, it's like 450 yards shorter. You can actually score. It's not easy. Remember last week we were saying like the stadium course is the hard course? It wasn't hard. It was relatively hard compared to the other two, which are super easy. This week, the North course is the easy course, but it's like average. It's still pretty tough.
In the big picture of PGA Tour courses, the stadium course in La Quinta
it was 36 and 51 in terms of difficulty last year. And the other two were 50 and 51. But
if you were playing well, we saw Hadwin and a few guys had really nice days. Cantley, I think, early in the tournament had nice days on the stadium course.
Yeah. So when we're talking about shot tracker, there's none at the North course. No player has played the North course. They only get one round there. They split Thursday and they split Friday, and they play both weekend at the South course to get 3 rounds there. But no player has shot over par at the North course and won this event since 1983. You got to do Jason Day last year. I went and looked at the strokes gained from last year's tournament, and if you just went by what happened at the South course, those 3 rounds, JB Holmes would have beat Gary Woodland by a stroke in terms of strokes gained. But Day went 64 at the North course, and that's how he ended up winning. This is also the site of last year of you losing your mind at JB Holmes for taking forever and screwing Noren.
Well, Noren. I don't remember what that Noren number was because it still seems...
I think it was 45 last year.
Yeah,
he was playing substantially better coming into last year than he is this year.
That sucked. He took forever. Everyone remembers that.
Do you remember that Ryan Palmer was in that playoff too? It was a 3-man playoff. He just lost.
What?
Yeah, he lost on the first playoff hole. He was done.
I have no memory.
Neither do I, because it was a Monday. Remember they rolled it into Monday?
And then I didn't Noren hit it in the water. Like it was like a dew ball. He got right away. I don't know. Still annoyed.
So Jason Day has won this tournament twice in the past 4 years, both in a playoff. So last year he had the 3-man playoff. He emerged. The only playoff he's ever won, he's won 2 on the PGA Tour, both at this event, which is kind of crazy. The year before was the year I actually had JB Holmes at like 150 to 1 in his comeback year. And I believe it was Stallings, not Woodland. Stallings, Day, Holmes, and someone else in a playoff. It was a 4-man playoff. Then it got head-to-head. So it created a slight hedge window, which was really nice.
Would you say Jason Day's these are his only playoff wins?
Ever. Like, he's been in 3 playoffs in his career.
And he only wins? Well, wasn't the Dubuisson match play a playoff?
No, I don't believe so. It's been 3. He's won twice here, and he lost to Billy Horschel. He lost to Billy Horschel at Byron Nelson like 2 years ago because he missed like a 2-foot putt in the playoffs. It's really weird. That was the week that Billy Horschel was making everything. Anyway, let's talk about the favorites because this is why we're here, to talk about Tiger Woods. But he is not the favorite. Do you know who the favorite is? Jon Rahm, 10 to 1. Justin Rose, second on the docket, 12 to 1. Rory's 14. First time for Rory playing this course. He usually plays over in the Middle East. He's decided to commit to the PGA this year, so he's here. He's 14. Jason Day, 16. Tiger Woods, 18. Finau, 18. X-Man, Xander Schauffele, 18. Leishman, 20. Little Ricky Fowler, 25 to 1. Woodland, 28. Cantley, 28. Charles Howell III, 28. No one in the 30s. And you got Reed, Cam Smith, Cameron Champ, and Jordan Spieth at 40 to 1. This is the deepest number I've seen on Jordan Spieth. Right now on 365, he is 40 to 1. You've seen him at 28, 33, different numbers like that. But he's priced the same as Charles Howell III.
I haven't seen him probably since he won on tour. He probably hasn't been this low. Or high,
Are you going to bet him?
No, I don't care. Okay. The course doesn't even suit him.
He has led after 36 holes in this course before. And we've seen, like, it's...
Was that when he was playing, like, the greatest golf of his, like, in a stretch where he was the best player on the planet?
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever.
Either way, when we target people at this course, 9 of the past 13 winners have finished inside the top 25 in driving distance for the year. This is a bomber's course. It's long. And there are guys like Snedeker's won here twice. Ben Crane has won here before. So there are outliers. Like CT Pan has a really good track record at this course, despite being a super short hitter off the tee. If you are going to target short hitters off the tee this week, which I don't recommend, it's doable, but it's just not likely. They need to be able to hit long irons and scramble their ass off.
Patrick Reed.
Yeah. Patrick Reed's alive here.
No, that's like that is a guy that I think the number we'll get to it, but I'm just saying that's the type of player because you mentioned you better be long off the tee. But he's a guy that can.
I don't think he hits his long irons well enough. To tell you the truth, Snedeker does. Like the guy's good with a 3-iron in his hand. Top of the card.
You're not wrong. Top of the card. I see why Jon Rahm is the favorite. He's been playing a lot of golf. He's been lurking in a lot of tournaments. If you've watched him close, at least my perception is that his longer range putts, Pat, have actually been a lot better. He's struggling in sort of a like 5 to 12 foot circle.
He's pulling a Spieth. Can't make an 8-foot putt.
But in my opinion, like he's 25. The putts that he was so good that he was hitting. So could be a matter of time of the flip switching. Of the elites, though, I lean to you and some pre-ramble off air that Rory McIlroy could beast mode this thing. I don't really want to bet any of them, though.
People are like furious that Rory's 14-1.
Like it's too low?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, Rory, what's he ever done at 14-1? Give me a break. Like Rory played well at Tournament of Champions, but he's just been having like Sundays have been eluding him, and he can't putt.
I'll start this right here. Would you not pick on Tiger with a Rory head-to-head at a fair price?
It's funny you say that because if you recall our discussion about this last year, we kept talking about that Jason Day number, which is eerily similar to what it was this year. It was 20-1 last year.
Oh, yeah, the back spasms on like a Wednesday.
He had the back spasms.
It's all coming back.
So I was going to pull the trigger on Day because we hadn't seen him in a while. I was like, anytime Jason Day gets below 20-1 at one of these non-majors, just bet him because he tends to win. Instead, they were offering almost an even money head-to-head with Tiger. So instead, I just dumped on the head-to-head with Day versus Tiger. It didn't bet the outright. He won, but it could have been 20-1 instead of even money, which would have been a whole lot nicer. So I don't know. We'll get to Tiger in a second. So of those top guys, you're with me? Like you like Rory?
I don't want to bet on Rahm as a favorite at 10-1. I kind of silly me. We do pre-shows, season previews. I already feel silly for us to project that he was kind of being slept on or forgotten. Maybe he just played a lot and people are now seeing.
Well, in his past 3 tournaments, he won the Hero. He finished inside the top 10 at the other 2 to start the year.
So he's sort of getting a lot of steam. So it's not.
And he's won here.
Yeah, if he wins, I wouldn't be shocked. Rose, I'm just not betting. I'm not betting to win. I don't care.
Okay. And so of those top few guys, I like Rory more than I like Day. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on the 14-1. I don't know if I'm going to play any of the very high-end favorites. I might load my card up with like 20 to 50 type guys, like 20-1 to not 20 to 50 guys, 20-1 to 50-1.
Because I was really excited about some of the guys in that like 30 to 60 range, and you realize some guys are here. Everyone's going to get a bump. But I knew you would have that sort of dilemma because you get attached to so many guys as to how you're gonna level out your card or you're gonna bite the bullet, down low. And even last week, I thought, Mike Miller, on Twitter,
smartgolfbets.com, great site,
like the mayor of the community in many ways, or at least I'll say so. He had a great point, at least I thought, on early in the week as to how you should bet last week, which is essentially take a pen and like red marker the first like 30 names on the sheet, and then take a pen and red marker like the last like 45 names on the sheet, and then just sort of like randomly pick from in between there.
Yeah, you would have crossed off Mark Long or Adam Long, whatever the hell his name was.
But literally, I'm like, that is actually like for how silly of a tournament the Desert Challenge usually is. To me, that's a genius. Like that actually makes perfect sense. Granted, Phil and Hadwin and Long would have been crossed out. This is one I don't think we're going to see a surprise. You mentioned the past winners here. I don't think we're getting
the last, there's been 2 crappy winners the last 10 years that I can remember. Scott Stallings won. Ben
Crane?
Scott Stallings won, and then he made a playoff in another year, although he won during his PED season, so we'll see. Well, I still like that he's the only guy ever in golf to be busted for PEDs. Even VJ sued the tour and got his money back.
They finally settled, yeah.
Yeah, he got some money back, and he's doing, you see the workouts VJ's doing?
Killing it.
Guy's getting ready for the Masters. He feels like he's got one more run in him now that he's in Tiger Woods circa 2003.
Who's the other shitty winner?
Ben Crane.
Yeah.
That's it. And remember Snedeker won here because someone asked me, they're like, 6 under, that's a really low score. It's like, yeah, the winds were 70 miles per hour. And he finished the day before. He shot 69 that day, and the course average was 78.
We had
Walker.
Yeah, was it Walker? We rode that together at work, and it ended up like
we had Walker at 28 to 1. He lost by 2 strokes.
Yeah, KJ Choi, I think, was in that lane.
No, there was someone too that people. I think it was Scott Brown shot 87 in the final round, and he was like lurking. Poor Scott Brown.
Was a different. I mean, not to go back to it, but it's kind of in real time. Like in Hawaii. Or in the Bahamas in this week's web event.
Yeah,
half the guys, they're just done. Happens.
We are here really for one reason and one reason alone. It's to talk about Tiger Woods. He's back. He is 18 to 1. So here's the conundrum if you want to get into it. Tiger Woods has deeper odds at this course, where he has won 8 times in his career, than he currently does at the Masters. In a much, like, this is a strong field, Masters, a bit tougher field. It just seems straight.
Cam Champ has equal odds as his Masters odds.
Cam Champ's not even in the Masters.
Okay. Those are fair points.
This was the site last year. This was Tiger's first tournament last year. And we saw it. He made the cut. Remember Tiger went through like a grind period for the first like few weeks when he came back?
He stole that word. What's the thing that the Sixers kept saying? Like progress? The process. He kept referring to a process last year early on. Process.
I want to get back in the rhythm
of
playing
playing Hero
rounds
last year, right? And everyone got really excited because we saw a lot of like, the chipping. He was like having some trouble off the tee, but like that's just like work. And chipping usually should come last. And he was, chipping great. And this was a great scene last year because we saw him. It was like all of us, like, I want to see him take a shot where we can't even see his ball in penal rough, and let's see that shot. And he was pulling him off. He played well at this event last year, and he kind of got it going on the weekend. He snuck through, and then he got hot for Florida, and then there was that Masters hype, and he kind of just sort of had a very consistent peaking for big events season.
Can he win this event this year?
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
Yes. Micro.
Yes, he can, but I don't think that he's going to.
I'm with you, because in the micro analysis of this event, as it pertains to Tiger's plan for 2019, it's a process to peak for the Masters. To maybe be peaking at the Players.
If we're going,
he's in process mode.
In my opinion, if we're going to bet Tiger once before the Masters, I think Honda's the spot.
It's not here.
But it's so strange to say, because like,
do you know what's so funny?
Well, think about it last year. He was in the mix at Bay Hill last year.
Yeah,
when Rory won, and then he hit a driver out of bounds. But that was supposed to be the
Was he really ever in the in the mix?
Like Rory shot a 61 on.
But Rory stole it from who? I think he stole it from Stenson or Leash. No, Leishman won 2 years ago.
Whoever it was,
Stenson and Bryson.
But Bryson also made a run on Sunday. Like those two came from the pack. Tiger was making a run, and he was kind of in it. And then he went away. Now, I didn't think that he was going to be able to compete at Bay Hill because that's a big driver course. And as we've seen, like, even at the Tour Championship, like a bit less than driver courses are sort of his bread and butter now. But
this isn't that.
But he played so well there that maybe he can. Like, he played well at the PGA Championship, too, when it was Brooks and it was Dustin. And Tiger was right there. So maybe I'm wrong about this. And he got the smoke wagon going. He's all good.
It's a shame that I'm going to put this name out there in any sort of comp with Tiger. But just for the moment, and it's timely, a lot of the metric golf nerds on Twitter were joking how it's like Shane Lowry had like a dominating par 3, like an amazing performance this week in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi on a very driver dominant heavy course. People are like, how did he do that? And I think it was Baroff for someone. It's like, well, that's sort of like how Tiger wins, doesn't he? He goes these courses that are now like driver dependent. And he just plays awesome in every other facet.
Yeah, he dominates par 4s
of his game. I just believe that Tiger believes everything is on the table now. The big picture, really important things. Just being back, walking with young guys isn't like the thing anymore after how great last year was.
He's here to win now.
But he's here to win the Masters. the U.S. Open. I think this is the start of a
If you think that he can win those tournaments this year, he can win this tournament no problem. Then.
I don't doubt that. And I'll sort of double talk out of the other side of my mouth by saying, yeah, he didn't show up to the Tournament of Champions. Yeah, he didn't do these other things. Yeah, this is the first time he's playing this year. If you don't think he's been grinding, like with health and confidence back, and his work ethic, practicing and fixing and doing what he needs to do to be what he wants to be or as close to that as possible, you're like sorely mistaken. He's machining that thing. Look, I just think it needs a tune-up before we win again. I believe in the greatness. I don't believe he's like first tee in the ground great again. And if Sunday happens, I'll be happy. It'd be a great win, but I'm using more words than you, but I just don't think.
I'm not betting him an 18-1 at this course. He's this many guys in the field and this course. That's just, I'm not doing it.
I don't think he has the ability because he's won here so much before, which I would assume was his first start of the year. Wasn't a guy that played Hawaii often.
Look, Jason Day hadn't played before last season, showed up here and won. So it's not critical. Like when we're talking about like the elite, like when people talk about the career builder and the Sony, like, oh, you had to play the week before, you had to play the other two events. It's because those fields aren't good. So if you're good, like look at Phil. Phil didn't play. Phil shows up because Phil's still good. One of the best players in the field. Cantlay shows up.
Pivots everyone with an "I'm rusty" tweet.
Yeah,
and gets a 3% ownership,
and then then plays himself on DraftKings.
Yes, Phil.
Phil's out there. He had a head-to-head against Hudson Swafford. You probably just bet like, $3 million on that. He was good to go. So let's talk about the other players because there's important people in the field here too. We got Finau and X-Man at 18-1. Xander has played this tournament 3 times, never made the cut.
San Diego boy.
Isn't that weird?
Maybe just
too much pressure. Home
local.
We see this with like when Ryan Palmer plays his home course all the time and misses the cut. Spieth in Dallas too. Spieth always sucks in Dallas.
Yeah, I don't know Xander well enough to know like Torrey Pines' home course. But he's a San Diego kid, San Diego State kid. The field's too big.
But he also has the perfect game for this course.
And you could argue, I mean, what was he, 22-1 to win the Tournament of Champions or 20-1?
Yeah.
So
he was actually 25-1 to win the Tournament of Champions.
I'm not I like his chances more than Ty.
I
was gonna say like head to. I don't want to pick on Ty. I don't want to get in this thing.
No, Tigers.
We did last year though, as you mentioned with the day stuff.
But they were giving him like elite people, and he hadn't actually put in an elite performance in 3 years. So let's take that money. This time, Tigers is such a big wild card because we don't know where he's going to be to start the year that I have no real interest in picking on him in head to heads. My card's gonna start with Mark Leishman again, 20-1. Top 5s in each of his past 3 events. He's played this course excellently.
Long irons.
Over the years. Long irons.
Yeah.
Hits it long enough. He has top 20s each of the past 3 years here. He has top 10s in 4 of the past 7 years. 7 top 30s in each of the past 10 years. And he's coming in fire. He's hitting the ball well off the tee. He's hitting those irons. He already won in the swing season. Played well in Australia. Played well through 2 events so far. He had, what he come at Tournament Champions. He was 4th at Tournament Champions, 3rd at the Sony Open. He likes this course. I'll start with Leishman. I hate the number at 20, but I'm taking it.
It's earlier than I would want to start my card, but I did bet him at the TOC and the Sony. So
you don't want to pull a Kuchar and just leave him off the card?
I have to think about this. I didn't want to start my card this low though.
Now, do you want to go with Finau? Do you like Finau at 18? Finau's perfectly suited for this course.
Of course he is.
But he's perfectly suited for every course and doesn't tend to win.
No, I don't.
So do you want Big Ricky at 18-1 or Little Ricky at 25-1? Take your pick.
I don't want to bet either of them, to be honest, but I'm appreciative that the little odds are
normal.
I mean, I would say they're more normal. I think you would probably argue it should be like 35.
Sure, but Fowler's going to get the Fowler name bump regardless. I don't think it's a good number on Fowler, but if he's 25
but he's not like 16.
Look, Charles Howell is 28-1. So 25-1's fine. for Ricky
I
Fowler.
got no beef with Ricky's got the new balls they've been testing. It's not like he's putting it on the green.
This is also a big sponsors week for Ricky. People forget he plays this tournament every year. He's sponsored by
He's a
farmers.
California kid too.
But that I thought he was from Oklahoma. Or did
he
go
went to Oklahoma State
anyway
for school.
Sometimes like he is sort of the marquee guy for farmers at this tournament. So extra pressers, meeting with the sponsors, the uppity ups that I think he might get kind of drained at this tournament. We've seen it in the past that just he doesn't.
I would argue Ricky kind of gets pulled in a lot of directions at every tournament.
This one especially though, I think this and Quicken Loans are two that, and it's not Quicken Loans anymore, but so this is the only one that they have to focus on with him. They're probably shooting a commercial at some point this week out there.
I think the guy in this range, who I bet to win here last year, then got off him when he went to win in Phoenix, is
Gary Woodland. I'm on the same page. The two guys that I wrote up in my column up on DraftKings Playbook right now, Leishman and Woodland.
And I almost,
one more,
in our
deeper.
pre-shows or even before that TOC week, I think in the TOC show, I said he's going to win Torrey Pines. I was hoping it'd be like 45-1. Maybe that was really silly of me. That's why I laughed when we saw him at 25-1 there, but I don't mind this at all. Everything he does seems to work here. He has a confidence.
The only thing that he doesn't do well, no short game to speak of. So he needs to keep his ball striking going, which he can do, and he has been doing.
And he clubs down here and has that great success.
I don't know if you can club down on the South Course. You're gonna need that distance, Gary. But you need to be hitting the greens in regulation, like smaller greens. So here's the thing: there's a lot of par fours this week.
I don't know why
over
he played
400.
Sony.
He plays Sony every year.
He played like his grandma died.
Yeah. And he got MDF, so he made the cut and then got cut after Saturday. But it's not that big of a deal. But there are 6 par 4s on the South Course that are more than 450 yards. And also, between the two courses of the 8 par 3s, 7 of them over 200 yards, Woodland rates out really well in both those ranges. So that's something very interesting to watch.
I like Woodland.
I like Woodland as well. I haven't pulled the trigger on Leishman or Woodland yet, but those are my two leans from the top. Because Cantlay could win here. I don't think that Howell's going to win. Like, if you wanted to bet Howell, just eat the juice and take like minus 110 to bet him top 20. I'm not going to do that, but like, are you going to... Who in their right mind is going to bet Charles Howell at 28? And because we're saying this, that means he's going to come second. Like we've said about Hadwin and Woodland 2 of the first 3 weeks of the season. Like who was going to bet that number, but...
I like both Cam Smith and Patrick Reed maybe even more than Howell.
We're not there yet, are we?
Oh, sorry.
All right, we'll talk about the 40s then. Reed, Smith, Spieth, and Champ. Do we just ride Champ? Rom broke out here.
What was Rom's number when he won?
40.
Here, I think.
Champ opened at 50. He's down to 40 already. If we're going to talk about like off the tee matters here, driving distance matters, screw it. Why not? Rom won in his first start. Cam Champ first off the tee.
This is
of
the number.
anyone.
This is the number I won. I hit him on at Sanderson Farms 40-1. This is his Masters number. I don't listen.
Cam Smith, from a skill set perspective, like if Champ is out there hitting at 370 down the fairway,
Cam Smith has to make every putt and get up and down like 20 out of 20.
He gets up and down. He plays long courses well, and he's really good with long irons. Like Cam Smith's sort of Snedeker-y in my mind.
Sure.
He could be sort of like the new Snedeker coming in. 40-1, I don't know if I want to take that because there's guys that I like deeper that I think they're like equivalent to him. So I'm very confused about what to do in this range. Like Leishman and Woodland really stood out to me. Champ was the next one that stood out at 40-1, but it might be too low to take at 40. But you would go with Reed at 40?
I'm very tempted.
Okay.
He's been playing a lot. I think his game's in shape. A lot of other elite players are just putting the tee in the ground. And I never mind picking him because when he's in the fight, like you almost wouldn't rather have anyone else. We got to get in the fight first, though.
Yeah, it goes sideways for him very quickly.
It can. And the course isn't ideal for what he does well, but boy.
But he can scramble.
He's gone to courses that absolutely you wouldn't think suit his skill sets, and he's won. Augusta, Doral.
Yeah, Doral was the weirdest one. That's when he proclaimed himself a top 5 player in the world.
Still, you wouldn't pick that type of guy. You wouldn't think that he would just move around there. Okay. And I guess this works with a lot of players, and it's easy to say when like elite players are playing well, you know, they can really do anything. But if Patrick Reed is going to a course that suits him more and he's not driving well, he's still screwed.
Yeah.
Is my point. So he's got to... Like,
he has played near perfect.
But when he won at the match...
Snedeker's won here twice, and he played close to perfect golf. When
1.5.
Sure, but he played near perfect golf the year that Kyle Stanley blew it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then Stanley went on to win the next week in Phoenix.
Yeah.
After Levine melted down.
Golf story. What happened to Spence?
He's too many cigs. Guy needs to get back on tour, make that cig money. That was the week that he smoked an entire pack of darts on the back nine when he was melting down. Then he got a cactus stuck in his ass in Phoenix because he hit the desert too much. And then Stanley stormed the court and ended up beating him after the same thing happened to him the week before. What's your favorite hole here? What's one that stands out? It's 18, right?
It's gotta be.
The do or die 18 where you can make eagle or put it into the water by spinning it too much.
But there's so many nice, I don't know, there's so many nice La Jolla holes here. Just looking out.
Oh, you know what's back for the first time this year too?
Jim Nance?
Kikuya grass. Got to watch out for that thick kikuya grass.
We should be getting
more
Nance,
prevalent,
right?
more prevalent at Riviera, but I don't know if Nance does it. He probably does. Is this a CBS?
But they're doing the Super Bowl, I want to say.
Is it CBS Super Bowl this year? Then maybe
that's what I mean.
Maybe he's not doing it.
He usually does Phoenix when they're not doing the Super Bowl.
Sure, but if he is doing the Super Bowl,
obviously
he will not be double dipping.
But yeah, it's a lot because I'm sure there's a lot of prep and there's a lot of stuff they got to do. But it's a Tigers back and there's no other sports.
I don't want to get like Nick Faldo out of the booth. But what if we just take Romo and put him in the golf booth too?
Oh, he would call all the shots.
He'd be great. Oh, he's definitely making this, going slight bend left to right. Got to get the
Is
speed
Romo
right,
the
though.
best or the worst?
The best. He's the best.
Right? But why are people hating on it?
Is anyone hating on it?
I've seen, yeah.
Who?
Well, just the internet.
The internet is a very toxic place, Jeffrey, if you hadn't known.
It really is. Yeah. He'd be crazy to leave that booth, though.
Well, people were talking about
He should
like
be a coach because he's calling the plays.
Yeah, do you know what he enjoys doing? Working like 10 hours a week, watching some game film, talking to people, and then hitting the links with Jim Nance. That's the life, man. You're getting paid tons of money.
I think he's making like 4 or 5. Am I wrong to think he makes 4 or 5 million a year?
He might make more. I don't know exactly what he makes.
On his second contract, because he's going to be the hottest guy in the business.
Yeah, he'll probably end up on Monday Night Football if I had
See,
to guess.
do you think,
or he'll replace Collinsworth.
Do you think these replica McVay hires are like, isn't Jason Witten like a replica Romo hire?
Okay, Jason Witten seems like someone that if you stuck a magic eye in front of him, he'd just be perplexed for 20 hours. Like, just because you played for the Cowboys doesn't make you a great announcer. Romo's unless you're a super personality, you kind of have to be a quarterback. Like, Collinsworth is sort of an exception. Like, grinder level
Warner's
receiver.
also been great.
Yeah, Warner's fantastic.
When the NFL
quarterbacks just what they can bring to the table in terms of being a color commentator is exactly what they bring to the field and being a good quarterback. Their understanding of football is so much more advanced than like. Is there any running back besides Tiki Barber that's ever been in the booth? In the booth.
Moose Johnson, cowboy, white guy, fits that mold.
I'm surprised Mike Alstott never got a shot. Like, it's just, running back doesn't lend, it's not conducive to being a good color guy. Mainly because you're taking shots to the head over and over that you just end up sounding like Troy Aikman. But I like Romo in that spot. Anyway, let's back to golf. We got time. Next week's show, we'll be doing Super Bowl picks. We got props. We'll be back
I love
for golf.
next week's tournament. Too.
Oh, we got Phoenix for the golf show, but me, you, and Cuss will break down the Super Bowl and get all our props.
It does more for me. I could leave my Super Bowl party when Phoenix is over.
We've cashed some nice tickets in Phoenix too.
But then I've lost on the Super Bowl. Like I never come home with the golf money.
So, anyone else from 40 and below you want to talk about? Just Reed? You might play Reed.
Might play Reed. He's pretty. So it's a tempting number, Pat. This guy was 22-1 at Tournament of Champions, and went off at like 16 or something.
Like, you want to know where course history really rears its ugly head?
Hawaii?
In the odds. Because Reed won that tournament before, played well there. He gets to be 22-1, bet down to 12-1.
You saw it with Hadwin last week.
Charles Howell gets to be 28-1 here because he hasn't missed a cut in 10 years at Torrey Pines.
Fair.
So 45-1 to 100-1.
This is the show.
I'll shout out my main man, Luke List.
What are we looking at?
70-1. I'll play that with the
You've
each
got
way.
it each way.
Check next to Luke List.
This is the. I'm not calling the win. I'm not an insane person
He
under
can
my
compete
name.
here.
But
Bad putters tend to putt well here on these weird. But
This
did
is
you
the-
know between the two courses, between the north and south, the south is POA and the north is bent grass?
that's crazy. The South had a major reno.
No, the
recently.
north had a major in 2016.
2021 U.S. Open. Torrey Pines.
List has the short game to play here.
List. I've said when he wins, it's going to be one of these numbers, not the like 22.
No, not only is it going to be a big time number, it's also going to be in a big boy field.
Big pants.
Listen, if Ryan Palmer and Keegan Bradley can continuously play well at this course, Luke List can play well at this course.
Okay. It's a Luke List week, is it? We start 45 to 100 and we go right to Luke List. I'm going to go right to Hideki.
Okay, Hideki opened at 66. He's down to 55.
Still a good
You got
number.
him at 55. He's
I'll
going to
play the
continue.
55.
What's he doing at 55-1? Like, he was undercursed at the Sony Open and still played all right.
He does everything we saw last year. Remember, we were keeping a keen eye on him through the FedEx Cup. We wanted to see signs.
This is where he hurt his wrist last year. In the final round, he shot the best
Sure,
round,
and then he went to Phoenix with defending champion
withdrew.
obligations.
But he had the best round. He and Charles Howell III both had the best final Sunday round of anyone last year.
I don't even like to each way anything under 50.
Okay.
That's just me. But even like Hideki on an each way seems very cashable. This is long irons. Obviously, he would have to putt better than average. But I don't know. This is an embarrassing number. This is an embarrassing number surrounded by some of these people. Disrespecting, so I will play Hideki.
You got Answer and Noren at 45. I kind of want to go with Answer, but I'm not going to.
Because this course just doesn't suit the game?
No,
or you
I
just
think
feel
I
like
actually
we've
think
hit...
that the course, I don't even think that. Just 45-1, comparatively, like...
last week he was 40 against nobody.
Yeah, I bet him there. I think that Grillo is a better player.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Grillo's 60-1. I'd rather bet that. Now
I-
Grillo is one of the shorter hitters that still gains strokes off the tee and plays long irons well.
Incredibly well.
So he is the type of shorter hitter that I would go with here.
And in a Luke List, I've thought forever it's going to be the big boy pants tournament. Noren,
It's not like the year that I guaranteed that Grillo was going to win the Players' Championship, and he came 121st in the field. So it's probably one of those weeks.
I got such a soft spot for Noren, but he hasn't played and he hasn't been playing well.
Okay, course history, guys. Snedeker and JB. Out.
I'm just not betting them.
Riding the wave with Mr. 1, Sung, J, M, 60-1. I'm fire.
I'm interested.
I kind of am too.
I'm staring at it. I think if we...
Would you
I don't want to...
Would you rather play Im or Pan at 75? Because Pan's played this course well before. Another guy who's short off the tee, gains a bunch of strokes through accuracy, and the long irons are good.
I don't want to be falsely falling in love with a guy who I thought played great in Hawaii and then very good at career builders in M, and now we're like stepping up in class. And sort of to your answer point, this was the same number you could have bet M last week versus that field. Now, granted, he's been playing well. And he does hit those long
We
irons
jumped on him
well.
live after his Saturday round, and then he was just terrible on Sunday. Couldn't make a putt.
I was watching Rom get angry.
Oh, I forgot he was playing with Rom.
And Bazzelli, who had a great week, keeps cashing.
Definitely wanted to bring that up. Remember we used to have the Day Chappell corollary, where anytime that Jason Day would play well, Kevin Chappell would also finish inside the top 5?
What's the corollary?
Whenever Hadwin plays well,
Bazzelli?
Bazzelli plays well.
Okay.
So career builder
Valspar?
twice now, and Valspar.
Okay.
They both finished inside the top 5 of those tournaments. It's kind of crazy. I got no interest in my main man, Si Woo.
I'm not done talking about him.
Oh, okay. Continue then.
But it's just, okay, M was 60 last week, he's 60 again. Wise almost fell to like 20 last week, and he's 60. Granted, he didn't play well.
Look at the board. So you have Im at 55, right?
Yeah, Wise, Burger.
So I like List more. I like Burger more at a better number. I like Wise more at a better number. I like Griot more at a better number. I like Hideki at the same number more. Like, that's the reason that he's not going to make my card.
Wise's game suits this course.
I know.
Too.
I went and looked at it
and
too.
People are just turned off because he was such a hot pick last week.
He played like okay. He missed the cut, but like he wasn't horrible by any means. But here's the thing. I went back and looked at Wise because I was very interested, right? So he won Byron Nelson last year. So he came second at Quail Hollow to Jason Day, a driver-heavy course. Then goes the next week to another driver-heavy course at the Byron Nelson. And who pops up inside the top of that tournament? You got Woodland. You got Mark Leishman. You have all the guys that we like at this tournament at better odds, and Aaron Wise is the one who walks away a winner. He has a bad short game. It's not like horrendous, but it's not good. It's better than Gary Woodland's, put it that way.
I'm in.
I think he's sort of
I was in last week, so how could I get off now?
I think he's sort of like low-rent Woodland. That would be sort of my take on Aaron Wise and his skill set.
Some people might say you don't want to be low-rent Woodland.
Why? Woodland's good. Woodland's up to 24th in the world.
I'm a big Woodland fan.
Woodland is currently 28-1 in this field. If you're going to be low-rent Woodland, be 60-1.
Is this like a buying high in Woodland, though? Or is there more?
A little bit, but it's either
like in a stock.
It's either buying high or you're riding the form. It's like all those people that said the Bitcoin couldn't go down, Jeff. And what happened with Bitcoin? Everyone won. I stopped paying attention like 18 months ago. I don't know.
I don't know.
Is that what happened?
They won for a period of time.
So everyone's not a billionaire?
I know that probably there's some really dumb people. These are the same type of people that like probably buy like Phil Live at -170.
No, but there was a ton. But
lose their shirt.
Put it this way: in terms of Woodland, to equate it to the Bitcoin sort of boom, there's a lot of people that bought Bitcoin at 14,000 and 15,000, and then they sold it at 18,000 and got out.
Absolutely.
So you have to on the Bitcoin curve. Where's Gary Woodland? I think this course suits him really well. I think it mitigates his bad putter. He's an excellent ball striker, and he's playing well. He had a bad Sony Open. His grandma
I have
just
to
died.
almost bet Woodland for my own personal peace of mind.
Okay.
Because you can't put a price on peace of mind, Pat.
So for sure for me, I'm going Griot. I'm going List, both with the each way.
Oh my God, I'm such a sucker for Griot.
I might go Wise as well. And like we're in the 60s. I can take some shots down here.
Adam Scott's never played here before.
2008 at the U.S. Open was the only time in his 20-year PGA career that he's played. So
that's almost like a default.
Keegan is the interesting one. Top 5s the last 2 years here.
I don't care.
Okay?
I don't care. I watch Keegan for his shoes.
And hidden cans of Pepsi around the course?
No, Pepsi's gone.
Oh, yeah. Is he off fighting with Miguel Angel Jimenez again?
You had to have seen that European Tour video.
I don't know which one you're talking about. There's a lot of European Tour videos.
Well, they're so good at like content.
They are. They're good at broadcasting
Doing
too.
that joke like meeting with Stenson and Pepperell.
Yes, I did.
Stenson plays that role like as like so freaking well. They're so good. And anytime the PGA Tour like content team tries to do anything off of like just showing us a normal golf thing, it feels so awkward like immediately. It doesn't even have a chance before it's like weird and awkward.
I would tend to agree. Remember, the only like successful social media stuff and like off-brand video was, I don't even think it was PGA Tour produced. It's when they did the rap song, Mahan, Fowler, Bubba.
That was like the Golf Boys or whatever.
Yeah, that was like fun. Then they tried to do it
Fowler,
again.
Bubba.
Who was the other guy?
Ben Crane.
What an eclectic stealing group. People's money on the course, not paying his debts.
What an eclectic
Anyone
group.
else? Spawn, Palmer, doing it for you. Stanley.
Here, how about this?
Horschel, Grace has never played before.
I was gonna say because it's a U.S. Open like type course, but didn't you call like the death of Grace on one of our previous shows?
I don't know, but Grace was also one of the people that was in the mix at the Byron Nelson Wise one. I had him and Leishman that week, and they came second and third to Wise.
Grace is always interesting at places like this. I've got to ask you about Siwoo though.
Not Siwoo here.
Sorry, get back to your Grace comment.
I think he did play last week in Abu Dhabi. That worries me. Him and Kiradesh are both in this field. They both played over there last week. Not saying it's the end of the world. Poulter just played the Sony Open, went over to Abu Dhabi and came 6th. You would be surprised how decent jet lag is.
This
when
is,
you're flying
I
private.
want to say, the first 2 years ago, I'll be honest, sometimes, like Adam Long, never heard of him. Sometimes it takes longer for guys to show up on our radar, even though we do this weekly and try to follow the other circuits. This is the first place JJ Spawn ever caught my eye, I want to say.
He had a good West Coast swing in his rookie year coming from the web.
Yeah.
I recall that.
And he's from here.
Yeah, he's San Diego State.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love
it's
him.
either the course layout. Your irons are way too long.
Put it this way: we're now getting into territory where are these guys good DraftKings plays? Not are they good bets? That's where I'm at it. Ryan Moore's casually 110 to 1 in this field. Stock long shots. I put it out on Twitter as my only play so far that I'm in on that I've made. Killa Keith Mitchell 160 to 1 with the each way. It's more for the each way, but hey. Killa Keith looked pretty good at the Sony Open. This is a driver-heavy course. He is one of the longest hitters on the PGA Tour. The guy is an excellent ball striker. Can't putt for shit, but hey, who cares? Why not take the shot at 160?
Yeah. He'll be on your first round leader card. Oh, no, it's the 2 courses.
2 courses, unless they split it up like last week. The only other one I saw from way down here, we can talk about some guys in the middle.
How way down?
There's 2 other guys from beyond. We're at 100 to 1 and beyond now. Trey Mullenix is 350 to 1.
He can put it out there.
He really can.
He is.
Do you remember?
He's a tank.
We did a preview, I want to say 3 years ago. We were talking about the rookies that we really liked. There was 2 that really stood out to us that we thought that could have a future. One of them was Xander Schauffele. The other one was Trey Mullenix. And they both broke through at the U.S. Open that year that Brooks won at Erin Hills. They both finished inside the top 10. Now, obviously, Xander is currently the 6th-ranked player in the world. He's really broken through. But we thought that Mullenix had that sort of game as well. He played really well on the weekend at Career Builder. He is an absolute masher off the tee. No short game.
He's a shithouse.
Do you remember when I actually had money on him to win last year?
Landry won in Texas.
When Landry won in Texas. What did Mullenix do? He had an up and down to tie for the lead and dart right into the bunker from 3 feet away. It was embarrassing. He sculled it so badly that it almost came out of the bunker. But if you're going to take a flyer on someone from down this list, he'd be the one I'd take.
I'll cheap out and start this conversation closer to the 101
All right.
level.
I'm backing on Danny Willett, 125 to 1. Remember you talked about Willett last week and you bet him at 80. What did I say? Danny Willett is not going to win a course where minus 21 is the winning score. But if minus 10 is the winning score, all of a sudden, Danny Willett's looking alive. It's a lot like Grace in that sense. But Willett's just playing better than Grace right now. And he's 125, coming off the bad week. Not concerned. I will be in on my main man, Big Danny, 125 to 1.
Neiman. Because this just blows up the 50, 60, and over rule.
He's an auto on the card.
But you got each way that, right?
Of course. You got to each way all these guys that are down here. The move for me this week is I think I'm going to avoid the very top of the card.
Leishman's pretty high.
Leishman and Woodland are 20 and 28, but then my next bet is 60. Right? So I've had a good fortune here 2 of the past 4 years by taking a bomb and getting into a situation where I can hedge my money on the bomb on the guy that they're up against.
Yeah. Last year, I don't remember it being a 3-way playoff because I was able to hedge, but I must have hedged overnight when Palmer
got himself out of it right away.
Ejected it.
Yeah. So you could hedge right away. Now, Noren was a bit deeper, but like when I had Holmes, I believe he was 150 to 1. And he got head-to-head in that playoff with Dave.
That's like his return to being a normal golfer again.
Yeah, and then he ended up winning at Quail Hollow. Cash that one, too. Big on JB. I like JB, although everyone else hates his guts. Anyone else from down there?
What about JB Holmes this week?
He's 60 to 1.
And he hasn't played.
He gained over 10 strokes putting last year at this event. He didn't actually play all that well. It was weird.
Let me just... Oh, I gotta ask. He's a big boy. I don't know. I'm just a sucker for him, but Hostler do anything for you? No. I'll stop asking.
You're worse than fucking Baroff with Schneider Jans.
I can't. At least Hostler... Why, Baroff's big on Ollie these days?
He bets him every week.
It's 250 to 1.
Well, then he's probably going to be on the card again this week.
He had some really good South Course rounds.
Ollie Schneider.
A stadium course.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, Ollie, he's unbeatable. Nick Watney's won this tournament before. 175 to 1. See, I think we're too deep now, is the thing. I'll take my shots and hopefully a top 5 cashes. I might just bet a top 5 on Mullinix instead of betting him at 350 to 1. But like, what do you have to bet? $5 to make $3 to make it worth your while?
It's amazing how, if you hadn't told me, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that the Charlie Hoffman stat on his last top 10 being 2 years ago's hero or last year's hero.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Grace, you almost kind of talked me into Grace. I have to dig more into Grace. As people know that my cheat sheet appears on Wednesdays on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme. That's where the top 10s, the top 20s, my actual card goes up. We're still talking it through right now. Shockingly enough, I have not dedicated the same sort of time this week that I normally do to preparation for this. I dedicated it a lot of time, just not the...
Oh, we got a column.
The column's up.
Yeah.
But I usually dig into 95% of the field and basically memorize everything that's happened to them in the past 6 months just to refresh my brain, because I can only remember things for like 3 days at a time. So I have to like really cram. I only did it for like the top 50 and under in the field and like the 2 or 3 guys I like deep. That's why I ended up on Keith Mitchell.
Steele
played well last week. Tway is someone that you could consider. Varner played really well.
Fratelli,
yeah. Lost a head-to-head to
110.
Knox with him by a stroke.
Oh,
Knox just out of nowhere had a really good Saturday.
I think he played fine
Stupid
at 1C.
I picked on him the day before. Hadley beat him on Friday.
Or Vegas, wasn't he there with Vegas?
Vegas round 1 played really well. Anyway, I think we're too deep into the weeds here. Let's get to it. Picks for the Farmers Insurance Open. Do you think I should play both Leishman and Woodland if my next bet is 60? That works, right?
That absolutely works.
So I will go Leishman for sure, Woodland for sure. No each ways on them. Got to play them straight up. They're too shallow for me. If it was a top 8 each way like they get in Britain, I probably would. With the top 5, not for me. And then I will go with Griot, List for sure from that range. And I'll probably end up on Wise as well. All at 60 and 70 to 1. I have Keith Mitchell down at 160
Willett,
to
right?
1.
We're going to do Willett.
And Willett at 125. And I think that Neiman's probably an auto bet at 110 to 1.
Oh, yeah.
Lost 5 strokes putting in 1 round last week. That's crazy. Crazy. He struck it really well.
As long as they want to keep posting this, like, we'll keep coming back for it.
Yeah.
Hence the auto.
And the move is going to be to try to get one of these guys in a situation where there's 3 guys left or they're leading by a stroke or 2 on Sunday and just dump on whoever the clear guy chasing them is. And maybe we'll never revert into that. Maybe it'll be like Kuchar and he'll just end up storming the court and winning. That would be fantastic. The only other one I want to give a deeper look to is Grace. Champ as well. Champ and Grace are the 2 I want to dig in.
I don't know. Why did I think you like literally threw some whatever?
Through
I
what?
don't mind Gray. I thought you threw like Grace under the bus for something.
You thought he was Grace under fire? He's the Brett Butler of the PGA Tour.
I never would have been able to guess the name of the star of that sitcom. You just know it. I could like visualize it, but I never would have.
Brett Butler, a lot of character with her.
Yeah, I don't know. What was her
Constantly,
deal? She was like a stand-up comedian.
Constantly
that got, like,
under fire.
So just like single mom, like a neighbor who helps.
I can assure you I've never seen an episode of that show. I guess I don't say before my time. I was alive, but wasn't really my wheelhouse. I was more into like news radio and Just Shoot Me at the time.
I like news radio.
I love it. It's on that free CTV Canadian streaming app now.
Burger.
How's it? How's your burger?
Like if he's healthy.
Yeah.
I think he also got to stare at that.
Yeah. I didn't stare at the 55 last week in a cheaper field. He played well, but doesn't do it for me. Let's wait till we get to Florida with Danny Berger.
Okay. I'm going to bet Woodland.
Okay.
I got to think
too.
about Leishman. Because I did bet him at Tournament of Champions and Sony. And I just cannot walk in here next Monday for Phoenix with you having a winning Leishman ticket.
If I had to play the top of the card,
Rory?
It would be Rory. Now, I only have the 1 Mitchell bet in. I might completely blow this up. So check out the cheat sheet.
Okay.
And I might say, you know what? I'm just dumping on Rory and then playing a few guys at 100 to 1, and that's how I'm playing.
Moore, Woodland. I'm going to bet on Wise. I've already bet on Hideki.
And you want Reed too, right?
I'm going to stare at Reed. I think that's... They're tempting me. That's a number that it's almost like
Can I tell you something?
an auto Reed range.
I like Spieth at 40 more than I like Reed at 40. I think this is sort of a course where Spieth can do well. Because they're very similar players, right? Wouldn't you say? Skill set wise?
Fair, except Spieth just went to 2 resort courses and MC'd.
He played 1 course and he MC'd.
What was his last before that? He went somewhere like he went somewhere.
Sure.
I want to say
year.
Mayakoba.
Okay.
That was his last other time, though, is my point.
I bet you if you see, they haven't released the head-to-heads yet. I looked before I came in. That if there's a Spieth versus Reed head-to-head, and I'm getting plus money on Spieth, I may bet that.
Sure. That's fine. I think Reed has an actual chance to win the tournament, though.
I think so does Spieth. To say that Spieth doesn't have a chance to win a tournament is ludicrous.
I'm not saying that. I think Reed has a better chance. You can get plus money on Spieth versus Charles Howell, I guarantee you, if you want that.
I probably will take that. Although, so safe with Charles Howell.
That's the thing. You have your median performance.
Is Spieth going to finish better than T13?
That's sneaky. So where were we? I'm in on Woodland. I'm in on Hideki. I'm going to probably bet Wise.
Willett Neiman.
Yeah, Willett Neiman. I'm a sucker, really, probably there on both accounts, Pat.
You gonna ride List and Mitchell with me?
Mitchell, I've already bet because you talked to me about it.
What about Mullenix?
But it was smaller than it was a very small bet.
When you're 160 to 1, the bet doesn't need to be super big.
It was a bet that I wouldn't even post because it was small but big. Wise. It's all about the long irons. Am I just completely well, not overlooking, but never mind. He's not going to win.
You know that
Fowler won't win, right?
He might.
I know. He really might. He really might.
I think that who wins first, Finau or Fowler?
I'm saying Fowler, but I don't want to bet that. But I'll say Fowler because he's won real tournaments. Although Steve Marino returned, so maybe Finau can beat him again somewhere.
Yeah, what was Steve Marino doing on that leaderboard? I swear to God, I thought Steve Marino was 75 years old. Turns out he's not.
No.
What's next? What's the week after Phoenix? Is Riviera after Phoenix or is Pebble after Phoenix?
I think it's Pebble.
When's the NBA All-Star weekend? That's Riviera week. Because Bubba was going to go play in the All-Star game.
That probably makes sense. First weekend after football. Sounds like the NBA is ready to go. We could be wrong. Could be reverse.
And I'll get into it with Ulrich on the DraftKings show, but Mahan he hasn't missed a cut in the past 5 years here. Carlos Ortiz is the best player in the field from 450. Sam Ryder, someone to look at. Kevin Streelman.
Sam Burns.
Not Bermuda Grass. Bermuda Grass Sammy. He showed up again last week. Kevin Streelman, returned to form, new putter. Really good ball striking last week. Maybe he was the guy in the playoff. I gotta go look into that because I can't remember who the fourth guy was.
What about to pop once a weekend or once a 4 days so far, Adam Svensson?
Svensson. Kenneth Jen. Adam Svensson. I played him a bunch last week. He was my low-owned cheapo guy last week. He played really well. No, I'm not betting him. I'm not betting any of those guys. I'm just thinking out of the box DraftKings-wise now. One and done. Our one and done picks of the week.
Last week?
Swafford. You had Rom, so you won. Cust miscut with Patton Kazire. I used Answer on my other team. So
I used Rom and Answer for my two
I used
teams.
Swafford and Answer. Who are you going with here?
So when I enter this team, I actually have to make sure it's the team consistent with our game.
Yes. We both have 2 teams. One of our teams is allocated for the picks we make on this show.
Yes.
Our Monday picks.
And I'm going to... Only because I said it 3 weeks ago. He's going to win here. Gary Woodland.
Woodland for you? Woodland creatures? I
feel like there'll be better places to use them, but I'm going to pop them.
I'm between Rory and Leishman.
Yeah.
Who do you think people are going to use this week?
Forgotten Elite, eh?
I don't know how forgotten Rory's going to be. Rory's always the guy that no one wants to talk about.
Is Ricky
Rory
elite
sucks.
enough to be the Forgotten Elite?
He could be. People will use Charles Howell this week.
People use Finau. They've been salivating for weeks to click a Finau button, Pat.
It may be an interesting week to use Rom because everyone used him last week and he didn't win. So people aren't like, oh, we got to use Rom.
Yeah.
But he's the favorite. He might be the one who goes under like him or Rose again. Woodland Reed champ. I'll go with Leishman as my pick. If I'm betting him.
Early burns for Leishman from both of us. He gone.
He gone. All right. They'll do it. Pat Mayo experience.
It's pretty good.
I'm all jazzed up. Tell me, I'm running on no sleep.
So there's
I'm
no
talking fast. I'm excited.
Tiger's not to be picked on.
I'm not actively picking on Tiger here. Martin Laird, was he the guy in the playoff? Party Marty? He loves long par threes.
Doesn't need to show up till desert tracks.
Yeah. Follow Tim on Twitter to find out who his one and done is, or check out the cheat sheet. I always put it on there. Off to a real hot start. I'm not having a good start.
He's already like
he had the
gas canning his entry.
We will talk about yesterday on the Super Bowl show because it's all football related. But he did curse Phil. He had a trifecta of curses. He picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl, then turncoated on them after they got down by 13 and guaranteed that the Saints win the game. The Rams win. Then he started like looking for credit for picking the Rams. You can't pick both teams to win and then think that people are going to be like, what a pick.
And now the Patriots.
He's picking I guarantee
Yeah, he already did.
He'll turn on.
But the Rams are a Super Bowl pick, so he's like double-deckering his credit. All you can know is never will he be allowed to receive credit when the Patriots finally die in 8 years. Brady's 50.
So vote in the Custies, because that's going to make an appearance on the next year's Custies. It did not make the deadline.
I saw you joking that on next year's show, yesterday could be its own category. Like yesterday has 4, like you could literally take 4 voting opportunities from yesterday alone.
There are some good. I'll put it in the description of this video and podcast, and I'll be tweeting it out all the time. And people can find your picks on Twitter too. GFienberg17. You always put out your card on Wednesdays. But yeah, the Custies have some good categories. What do you think the best Tim moment from the past year was?
Is that the most cussed? Is that that?
There's
category?
a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch. Not just like a winner of a category. What's the one Tim thing that stands out to you? I think it's the time that he said that ravioli, like putting Chef Boyardee ravioli and mixing it with Cheese Whiz was like eating in Italy. And we were both just so disgusted by the entire thing.
Yeah, maybe the...
that made, by the way, when people watch the Cuss Corner coming out on Friday, that's in there. And Tim's 100% fail rate with technology is all on there too. Like how he's terrified of Alexa.
His microwaving of the potato skins was pretty good. A lot of like more like inside baseball
Stuff.
type things, like how he couldn't, like the muting.
The muting was pretty good. That's in the show
or
too.
The minimizing,
all the stuff is in the show.
Or like he couldn't, like, you know, was adamant that like literally he had to like call the Geek Squad over to only the Geek Squad could solve the problem of minimizing a window.
And that's not even the Geek Squad. That's just like a semi-competent person with computers could figure it out. That's who I always point him to. No expert by any means. But Tim Butts is actually in the running too.
You know what?
Pop culture. There's a
the
category.
Most custy thing he did all year was giving Paul those AFC East odds.
Even odds for the Patriots were they? Paul pumping his fist.
It was like minus like 400, 375.
I think it was like minus 600. He gave me even. What was it? 7-1. It was minus 700. Yeah, Patriots minus 700 to win the AFC East. Even odds because they're not gonna win, Paul. Jets are gonna win. Real savvy bet. Anyway, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. If you want to enter a draw for 20 DK dollars, let me know who you like from beyond 30 to 1. That is after liking the episode and leaving your DraftKings handle in the comment section. And if you review the show on iTunes, 5 stars, or Spotify, or Stitcher, especially when you find the listeners link because you'll want to subscribe to get that, then, do you have a question? You're raising your hand.
I was just thinking
That's a draw for 20 DK bucks as well, by the way. Leaving the review in your DK handle.
Even just his clip of the day after the Jets won week 1 versus the Lions.
We're going 16-0.
Might be the most custy thing he did all year too.
I've never been that excited about anything in my life. I just had a child. So happy. Anyway, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the shows this week. Always give the likes to them. Subscribe to the podcast. Join that Listeners League. Because listen, if I got it banged up to 1,000 and it doesn't fill, I'm going to look like a fucking moron. So get into it as quickly as possible. And if it fills, you tell DraftKings to make it even bigger. It's rake free. It's really the best tournament for golf on DraftKings to play in. Do you know what the first prize is this week, Jeff? Guess.
$1,500.
I believe it is $3,000 to first prize. I believe that's what it is. It's not bad.
Didn't we double it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did I think last week the guy won $750? Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Because someone tweeted at us, so I'm just taking my L.
I have it pinned to my Twitter, so I can tell you right now what it is.
I'm just on my phone making bets if you have to make a disclaimer.
It is first prize, $3,000. Second prize, $1,000. Get in the PME Open. It's good stuff. I'm already in, so hit the description for the link to that. That'll be in the podcast for Jeff and I's show every single week. That's where it will appear first. So if you don't get on that, you may not get in. So please subscribe to the show. I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck. Enjoy Tiger Week, and hopefully you win some cash. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!